These are the newer ones. And I got those in Manila on my way back. Those are the ones I wore when I was in the Army. But this is my first ID card, but my hair done real well unless I had that mustache. These other guys got hair on their face because they think it's sexy. Well, this is my memorial march. I carry this because this is my token to remind me that when I was on the Death March, it probably saved my life because I took sips out of this along the route.
You can look at that.
Can I remind? That's not that much. A single sheet.
Here.
Yeah, that's right here. I said I would like to pay tribute to those who make the Bataan Memorial March a reality for me. Coming to White Sands Missile Range is now my pilgrimage. I come here like going to Mecca. It's a shrine.
Welcome to the 25th Annual Bataan Memorial Death March.
Marchers, attention!
This morning, we will conduct a symbolic roll call. In respect, we now ask for silence. William Overmeyer, Eugene Schmidt, Ben Skardon,
Here.
I received orders to the Philippine Islands. When I got to Manila, they put a lei over your head, and I thought we'd spend every night at the Army Navy Club, and then there would be the girls in the grass skirts dancing, which I was greatly anticipated. However, things changed immediately.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin. The Japanese have attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii by air, President Roosevelt has just announced.
Historically, Pearl Harbor was bombed December 7th, and Clark Field was bombed on December 8th. But because of the international date line, it really was just a few hours apart.
MacArthur withdrew his meager forces into the mountains of the Bataan Peninsula.
They established the defensive lines in the Bataan Peninsula, and they gave ground grudgingly for the next 3.5 months until April 9th, the day of the surrender.
On the southern end of the Bataan Peninsula, I made the march northward a distance of approximately 80 miles. The march took 8 or 9 days and later became known as the Bataan Death March. We didn't know where we were going. We had no idea why these guys were so mad at us. Later on, of course, it was explained to us that we weren't prisoners of war, we were captives. And they'll treat us any way they wanted to. You are under the gun all the time. And I never felt secure at any time during the march. Being there, the guy right 5 or 6 feet from me, I did not see it, but I heard the thud and I heard the other guy say they bayoneted him. From then on, I realized survival. Do everything to survive. 4 months later, I was a prisoner of war. Camp O'Donnell was the first one. And then the big labor camp, Cabana 1.
Fortunately, I teamed up with Henry Leitner and Otis Morgan. When I was stricken with high fever, there was no medical care. Henry and Otis would bathe my face to cool me off. When the fever subsided and the chills took over, they put their blankets over me. I owe my life to Henry and Otis.
I left Cabana 1, where I'd been for 2 years. Then on, we were sent down to Manila to get on the ship, the Orioco Maru. We didn't know also that some of those ships were being torpedoed by American submarines. So we got aboard the Orioco Maru, and they hit the ship. And that's where I got hit with bomb fragments. My good buddy Henry and Otis were killed. I mean, you don't think that clearly. You try to get safe. I kept saying, you're alive, you can breathe. And when people, people always wonder, what were your thoughts? Do you think you were saved? I don't get into that whatsoever. 6 more inches this way, I'd have been a dead man.
2 sinkings later, and over a month on those ships, we got to Japan and were liberated less than a year later.
As oftentimes, people don't talk about these horrific things they go through in their lives. And so the stories came out slowly over the years as we became older and understood.
You read about post-traumatic stress disorder in today's military forces. Our guys had it. They were told by the United States Army, don't talk about it. So for a long time, they lived in absolute silence. And that was the therapy they had for about 40 years. It was about 6 years ago. The phone rang, so I answered it. This is Jerry Schertz, and the voice on the other line, I could tell was an older gentleman. And he said, I was in your father's platoon on Cabana 1 for 3 years, and he called my name at roll call every day. I said, what's your name, sir? He said, Ben Skardon. There he is. Do you care if they take pictures of us, my friend?
I'll be delighted to be in your company.
Well, you're too kind. It's sure good to see you.
Well, it's good to be here, and everything's working out fine.
Is it good?
Yeah.
I found out that they'd been on the same hell ship going to the Philippines to Japan, and that was where my dad was killed. Is that the colonel himself? Were you the cadet colonel?
No, I was a lieutenant colonel out of a battalion.
I'm not sure if Ben even knew about the Bataan March, and I talked him into coming out. So, boy, without any hesitation, he came out here.
I want to march till I fall, but it's my age, this is my 7th time. And each time I've gotten up to 8.5 miles.
there's a special population who wouldn't think of going to any other marathon. It isn't because it's a race. It was coming here to see and absorb the spirit of these men and to pay them honor. And no other marathon provides that.
I'm a cadet with ROTC out of New Mexico State. I'm out here because I got the fortunate privilege to escort a survivor for the weekend.
He wants his picture taken.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. How far do you think Ben's going to march?
I know he'll do at least over 8 miles. He's setting the pace, and it's keeping us working.
How's your energy level?
Pretty good. Testosterone running high.
How far are we?
I feel like I have on my nightgown.
3 miles. Okay, guys, 1, 2, 3, say mile 3. 1, 2. Hard to tell.
Being with my great uncle and knowing that she's the only survivor that's currently marching today, and just utmost respect for her.
You talk about generations. You look at his generation, everything they went through, the Depression, prisoner of war, and he has survived, and he's done well. I think every person needs to have something that they can put their arms around and say, this is the reason why I need to live, this is the reason why I need to survive. And I think that, you know, he's a great idol in that.
What advice would you give to all these marchers here who are marching with you today?
Keep going. That's all I can think about out here, other than get a little farther up, everything gets quiet, and we get kind of meditative, visions, pictures, so it gets kind of gripping.
My debt to Henry Light and Otis Morgan is heavy. It cannot be repaid.
You see, if you didn't have somebody to take care of you and you went down, there wasn't a whole lot of hope. If you couldn't be a loner, you had to have somebody. And the two of you became a pair, and everything was shared. People ask me, how can you account for you being alive and your best friends are dead? I said, I can't. I'm a great believer in prayer, not the miracles that it can do, but there's a discipline in prayer that you have to allow yourself to accept.
One minute of silent prayer. Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, thank you so much for being here.
Well, I'm very lucky.
I'm looking forward every year to see you.
Well, thank you, ma'am. This is my seventh.
Thank you so much.
I was wondering about some of the people, would they remember? And I think one year, some man brought a baby over and he said, I know you're the oldest. This is the youngest. So those things are in my heart.
Yeah.
So
You know, I've been here since the very first Bataan March, you know, so I remember you every year.
Let's go over that chair. That's for you.
I'm not going for anything except as far as I can. I'm stumbling along, and my other people all coming along. They dragged me into that 8.5-mile medical station, and somebody said, "Here comes a survivor." So everybody's taking pictures, and they pull a chair out, and I sit in the chair, and the doctor comes out.
She being okay? Did you get some water to drink?
Say what?
Did you get you some water to drink?
No, I'm up to here.
You ain't dizzy or anything, are you?
I'm all right.
All right.
And then I get focused.
Looking pretty good.
I even think of things I hadn't thought about in years. And so it's not a time for meditation. I don't try to think of all the ramifications. But when somebody shakes my hand and says, "Thank you for your service," I get a tear in my eye. I mean, it bites that hard. I have to wait a minute.
Sir, this is my little youth football patient on this. Right here, Vic, he's going to ask you if he can sign his football. He got his football, man? Yeah, okay. You guys get a little bit right behind him so we can take some pictures. You right there, that's how it's done. You right here, Kevin, okay? Right here. Let me take a picture real quick, all right, guys? Excuse me.